How's everyone doing today? Great? How many people know each other that they're sitting next to? Why don't you guys get up and mingle to somebody you haven't met? We're talking about ecosystems here, right? So just shake a hand to somebody you have not met yet. So believe it or not, developing ecosystems in blockchain isn't much different than you're doing today. So just right now, I would say for the many companies that I talk to around the world, the ecosystem, it's really interesting. People think it's magic, like there's something different because blockchain is out there. It's not. In fact, you still have to build real value, real trust relationships, and understand what you're going to do with each other to solve a solution out in the marketplace. So remember what you just did. That is what it's going to take, right? There's not some magic because some technology exists, okay? It's really what we're going to do together, right? It's all about building that trust, shaking that hand, or just introducing each other if the relationship is such. So it's really about, again, what we're going to solve together. And there's a huge difference in what we have to get done today around trust, data disruption, and business disruption. So again, this is not much different than the old world challenges that we face. And it's really going to take that dedication to come together and build out those ecosystems, shaking those hands, and developing an understanding of what you want to solve. Who has a business problem or a customer problem they're trying to solve here today? I got hundreds. If you didn't raise your hand, you got to understand why you're here, right? Because then you should decide what problem you're going to solve. I would say I started in the blockchain / Bitcoin business with a discussion around 2013. And one of my friends told me, hey, look, there's this currency. And he described it, and I said, isn't that more of a store of value? And he described Bitcoin. And I read the white paper. I thought that was quite interesting. So I've been around the business now for about, I'll say 5 to 6 years. And what's amazing is how many people get involved and they really don't know what it is. They don't know what blockchain is. They don't know what the technology is. Who's read the white paper? If you haven't, read it at least 10 times. And that's usually the first rule. Before you ever engage with somebody in a discussion, go read the paper. Go read the white paper. And if you haven't, read it 10 times. If you haven't read it 10 times, read it 10 times. Most people say, yeah, I kind of know what it is, and they're involved. I go to so many conferences around the world with packed rooms, and they're so excited to be there, right? Who's read the latest Gartner study about blockchain and where it sits on the hype curve? Saw a couple people. Again, take a look. So it's coming off the hype curve, right? And that's not a surprise. Who was around or can remember back in 1995 with the dot-com businesses? Okay, so I just listened to a great talk by Jeff Bezos. But Jeff Bezos is the chairman of Amazon. He started his business in '95, and he had to talk to 50 people, 50 investors to raise $1 million. 50. So only got about a small portion of those to raise the $1 million. In 1997, he went public for a stock price of $1.50. And over the next 2 or 3 years with the dot-com bubble, that 150 went to what? Does anyone remember how high his stock got? Went to like $78. Can you imagine that? He was worth $9 billion in 3 years. And he said people that he knew left Stanford, had an MBA, no work experience, were raising $50 million in a matter of a call. It was unbelievable, right? The hype was there. And why I'm telling you the story is you have to realize the hype is all here, and it's coming down. So this is where you have to get busy, and business has to happen. Ecosystems have to develop around real value, not just make-believe, not just, hey, this sounds interesting, let's go capitalize on the hype. So what happened to his stock? Does anyone know what happened to his stock sitting around $78? The Amazon stock went down to what? Less than $1. He issued in '97 at $1.50. In 2000, it went down to less than $1. Okay, what's he worth today?
150.
150. So worth $150 billion. This company is, unbelievably wealthy. And the reason why it's super important to learn from history is because this is where we're at, right? There's a huge amount of hype, and everyone's super excited to be here. So I got 5 minutes left. I'm going to take you through just some really interesting discussions I think you got to have with yourself, with your partners that you have your business with, and then with the ecosystem you want to develop in. What's great is already 2/3 of the companies are in blockchain, and at least in discussions with blockchain. How do they involve themselves in their current business model, and how does that evolve? Good news there. So everyone here that is, I will say, working to get involved in established businesses and how you can help drive value, they're already interested. Okay, that's the good news. I would say the big challenges here are security at scale, trusted enterprise, and network conversion power. So the trust is a super important discussion because in business blockchain, it is not the same as Bitcoin, right? It's not the same as having a block built in based upon a mathematical calculation. It really is a trusted enterprise that you have to understand. So the network piece that we'll talk about here, because I'm going to move through here pretty quickly, is the super important part. This obviously graphic talks about the platform, to build the services, and then you build your network around that. These are actual blockchain communities we've already built with IBM and our ecosystems, right? Here in Chicago, Northern Trust is a great example of already using blockchain and have now for a few years. It's one of the best, I'd say, integrated blockchain businesses that exist today with hundreds of partners and transacting billions of dollars of value, billions with B. Okay, here's 3 points to take away, all right? It's a free option. Getting involved in blockchain, and this is where I talk to more established businesses. So I'm talking about the businesses that we have. I have over 2,000 customers in the United States. I'd say 500 of those customers are very active that we deal with on an ongoing basis. About 2/3 of those are already in the blockchain discussions with how to build that out for their ecosystem. It's a relatively small investment. The payoff's huge. What did Gartner say in their last study about blockchain? One, it's coming off the hype model, true. But as it comes down, it's going to continue to go down and then go up substantially. It's going to be a $3 trillion market by 2030. $3 trillion, okay? So don't lose faith like many did in the dot-com bubble. But guess what? If you add up Google, Facebook, and all those other dot-com companies that existed then, their values are hundreds of times greater than the entire value of the dot-com bubble was. So keep steady. It's going to work. Create, capture, sustain. This is a business model that we developed, that I've developed at IBM. You got to really create the value. Many of these ICOs are useless or worthless, and it's proving out to be the case. So be careful, because many don't even understand what value they're trying to create. The capture piece is super difficult. I think you got to stick with fiat, because that's the most important piece. And certainly if you have a coin that's linked to fiat, all the better. So understand how you're going to capture the value, and then sustain. This is the discussion we're just having around building that ecosystem and understanding how to sustain it. The hype is down. The hype is absolutely going down. Now we got to ramp up. This is the difficult part. This is where people start to scatter and leave. This is where you have to decide if you want to continue to be part of this and actually build that real value with the ecosystems. So that's it. I think I'm right on time. I just wanted to thank you for being here, for one, continuing to shake those hands and building out ecosystems that are really driving value. Thanks, everyone.